Open process automation. Well, joining us to talk about that today, Harry Forbes, Research Director, ARC Advisory Group. Harry, thank you for meeting with us today to talk about this important topic.
My pleasure.
Harry, but let's begin by defining our terms, open process automation, or just what do we mean by that?
That's a good question. The automation equipment in factories and plants is long-lived, and it's been highly proprietary because it's mission critical for the manufacturing and production objectives. But that makes it difficult to add functionality to it, and it makes it difficult to keep up with technological changes. So what's happening now is there's an initiative being led by ExxonMobil to create a new generation of these kind of systems that will be more standards-based, more open and secure, but also easy to replace incrementally and highly interoperable.
Well, it sounds good that somebody's riding to the rescue, but let's just talk about the difficulties that are actually involved here.
Right.
Walk us through some of those, if you would.
The real difficulty I see is that the kind of systems will be much more distributed. So instead of having just a few dozen nodes of compute power, you may have hundreds or thousands of them. And that makes managing the software much more difficult. In other words, you have application software running across a big number of systems. Fortunately, the kind of technologies that people are using to manage cloud applications will be able to scale down and address this situation, I think. So I'm very optimistic about the long run for this kind of technology because, if you will, the cloud software technologies are going to ride to the rescue here.
Okay, so I'm an end user manufacturer, so walk me through just what the impact of open process automation is going to be on people like me.
Well, what happens is when you're an end user manufacturer, pretty much regardless of what your industry is, when you pick automation suppliers, it's kind of like getting married. You're making a long-term commitment to that supplier. And the impact of open process automation is going to make that supplier relationship more fluid. So you can choose multiple suppliers, you can pick different technologies from your potential. So you're not really locked in. It's going to make the supply chain for these people much more open. On the other hand, it's going to, the need for long-term support and the need to manage the automation assets is always going to be there. So that task is going to be something that is going to have to be addressed, which now most of the automation suppliers provide that kind of expertise. So that's not going to go away. And it remains to be seen who in the supply chain is going to be fulfilling that role.
Well, let's talk about those automation suppliers. Let's talk about systems integrators, EPCs. Let's talk about the impact on these entities. What do you say?
Well, it's difficult to see right now exactly, but the standards-based kind of technologies that would be available for this opens up kind of new business possibilities for all the types of firms that you mentioned. So they can take the kind of expertise they have and leverage it into new roles in terms of serving their customers or branch into serving other customers. So they can move up and down a supply chain perhaps, or they can move themselves into adjacent customers much more easily than is possible today.
Let's put your salesman's hat on for just a moment. Tell me about the role that ARC is playing in this vital area.
Well, ARC is doing a number of things in this area. First of all, we're researching the topic as part of our market research. We're also participating in what the major organization that's working on this is called the Open Process Automation Forum, which is under a standardization organization called the Open Group. So ARC is a member of that Open Process Automation Forum, along with dozens and dozens of suppliers and a couple dozen end user manufacturers. So we think this is going to be a very important development in the areas that we research, in many of the areas that we research. So that's why we're going to keep our eyes on it.
Clearly valuable information for those in the manufacturing space. Harry, if anybody's busy here at the conference, it is you. Thank you for sitting down and speaking with us about this. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Harry Forbes, ARC Advisory Group, speaking with us today about open process automation. Thank you for watching.